We are now going to do a Class B CDL cab check. And when we hop inside the truck, the first thing we do before we even fire the truck up is make sure that the truck is going to be in neutral and that the parking brake is applied before we even begin engaging the ignition on it. And now I'll turn on electrically the system, and I'm going to want to watch my cab coming to life in here. I'm going to turn off my fans. And as I fire the truck up, I want to make sure that my ABS light came on and off. It did during the electrical check. And I want to make sure that that blinker came on and off and flashed out. And then I'm going to be checking the main 5 points that you're wanting to check inside of the dash check when you're doing this. And inside the dash, it's important to check that your water temperature is coming to life over there, that your oil pressure is also coming up. That should jump immediately. And then as you come over here, you're going to check that your ammeter right there is running the proper amount of voltage, usually 14 to 14.5 volts is pretty typical in most trucks, and that your air brakes are actually coming to life as well and charging up. These are already at just about full capacity now. And then you're welcome to mention to them that you want to also see if the fuel tanks are full or any other gauges you have there, but you must indicate those 5 things for the test. That's the ABS light, that is the water, the oil, the ammeter, and the air are the most important ones you need to actually make sure are mentioned. And after we check the smaller glass here, this is what I refer as small glass, we come over here to the large glass and check the full-size window. We want to make sure that on our windows we have nothing that's blocking our view. The only ones that are allowed to actually be blocking your view are either your state-issued highway placards that indicate that this truck has been inspected, and your basic window grade stickers that are down there in the corners of every one of those little windows. Everybody likes to be patriotic, but it's actually against the law to have anything blocking your rear view window, so you can't have American flags or anything like that up in the back, so unfortunately. And as we come here, we want to check our window to make sure it's not covered in dirt and debris. We want to check our mirrors, make sure that they are aligned so that we can see properly out the back of the vehicle, and that everything looks like it's hanging onto the truck correctly, which we also would have checked from the outside. We check our wing window, make sure that this is, again, not coming loose. We check our windshield. Again, no cuts, any kind of breaks or fracture lines created on this. And we check our side windows the same way we check our driver's window. Check our mirrors as well over there for alignment, and check our rear window back here for any kind of mud or debris or grease buildup. Sometimes your hoists right there can actually start to erupt oil after years and years of use. After we check that, we're going to come down here and we're going to check on the floor for our emergency and safety equipment. We're going to check for road flares or triangles that would be stowed away inside of a box here. I want to check for our fire extinguisher, and our fire extinguisher needs to be the proper rating and charge for what we're hauling. In this case, it's an ABC fire extinguisher that is properly charged all the way, and that's just for basic fires because this is just a trash truck, so we're hauling any kind of basic hazardous debris. And then we are going to check our fuse panel, breaker box, combo box over here. I want to pop the lid off of that thing and make sure that we are showing that all of our fuses are where they need to be inside there, and then any kind of resets or anything like that, we would just indicate we can have access to those and change those as is needed to continue driving. So you have those 4 points that you check here, and then that always leads me to the seat belt. This is where I put my seat belt on, and if I have the instructor inside with me, I tell them to put their seat belt on as well. And the seat belt then leads us to the steering wheel. At the steering wheel, we're going to check the basic steering section first. We want to make sure that the steering wheel has been properly aligned and properly tilted to where we need it to be at. And then we are going to slowly move our way up and check our different switches and electrical systems. So we want to make sure that our 4-way is doing what it's supposed to do. Then I come over here to the stick, and I'm going to check every direction this stick can possibly run. And so I'm going to do a left signal, right signal, then I'm going to check my wipers, give those a little bit, and I'm also just check my wipers on their own, make sure those are running correctly. And then I would also check my high beams right here to make sure all those lights are coming on. While I check my lights, I'm also going to come over here and run my internal lamp indicator lights to make sure that all my clearance lights are, one, turning on in the dash, but if I'm near a window or I have someone outside spotting for me, they've been checking all these lights on the outside as well to make sure that everything has been functioning correctly. We can check those during the walk around. And if you're fortunate enough to have a power test running on your switch down here, some trucks are equipped with a light test pattern. So we have what's called a lamp check right down here. We hit that, and that actually cycles all of our lights for us as individual operators. Then finally I get to the steering wheel itself, and I check the steering wheel for any play. I need to have no more than 2 inches of play on a 20-inch wheel in the actual steering wheel. So I wouldn't want this to travel any more than 2 inches when I give it a light touch. In this case, it's maybe a ½ inch that's actually moving. So we want no more than 2 inches of travel in a 20-inch wheel, 20 inches across here. And so we have, after that, then we want to check again for our horn, which on this truck I think is right there. And then we want to check our basic horn, and that's not running in this one because it's probably caked in oil and junk and crap like that, so we need to get that fixed. Anyway, then after you check that from horn, that takes us over to our heater, and we want to check the heater provides pressure, heat, and air, of course, and I want to check, make sure the temperature actually comes up. In this case it is, but crucially important is that it actually is heating and defrosting your dashboard. You cannot drive a vehicle, I think, in any state, but I know for sure in Utah, unless it actually provides you with heat to the window and keeps things clear. It's okay if you're cooking yourself to death in the summertime, but in the winter you got to be able to have a clear visual drive. And then that gets us to the very last point, which is our air brakes check, and we'll do that as a separate video altogether.